After watching this video, you will understand the key difference between trades that hit your stop loss and trades that hit your TP. Now, a lot of traders struggle with the fact that some trades will just push straight back down into their stop loss, but they don't understand that sometimes one little tweak in their strategy can make a world of difference. And today I'm going to show one of the tweaks that changed my trading career for the better, and I'm going to be showing you the exact 4 simple step process that I use time and time again in order to enter trades. So after watching this video, you will understand my entire trading strategy, including the 4 simple confluences that I use, but also the trick that I applied to these 4 confluences in order to improve my overall profitability to achieve results just like these. Now, without further ado, let's just dive straight in. Now, for you to understand this strategy, we always start on the 4-hour time frame, as the 4-hour time frame is just the most clear time frame of them all, in my personal opinion. Now, what you want to do is always identify your market structure first of all, because we want to understand, are we bullish or bearish, and are we looking for a long or are we looking for a short position? Now, what we have here is very clear bullish market structure. We have our overall swing low and we have our overall swing high. And what I personally like doing is drawing in a horizontal line just to mark out those overall swings. Now, this is very importantly our very first piece of confluence, market structure. Now, once we've identified the overall market structure, we can then dive into the second piece of confluence, which is liquidity. Now, in order for you to understand how we identify liquidity, we simply look at the overall impulse in towards the highs. And within that overall impulse, that is where you want to identify liquidity, because we want to identify liquidity in the impulsive phase, not in the overall pullback phase. So how we identify liquidity is by going into the overall impulsive phase, which I've marked out here in green, and looking for so-called bumps in the road. And bumps in the road are nothing more than small minor pullbacks within the overall impulse in towards the highs. And as we can see here, pretty much those overall bumps in the road are just these little areas where we have these bearish candlesticks. Now, what I like to personally do is always draw a line on the overall low. And as you can see, pretty much always when we get into one of those bearish candlesticks, you will see somewhat of a bullish reaction, as we can see over here. And as you can now see, we've reached the overall most lowest low, and again we're seeing here somewhat of an area of rejection. So that's how we identify a key point of liquidity. Now, for you to then understand if the market is actually ready to start pushing up higher, we need to look at the 2 other pieces of confluence. Now, our second piece of confluence is going to be our supply or demand zone. Now, a demand zone is very simply identified as a sell before a stronger buy up, and what we have here with this overall, I'm going to make it white zone, is a very beautiful sell down before a stronger overall push in towards the upside. And these overall demand zones can be identified over here, and indeed over here as well on this overall imbalance candle. However, what do I personally like doing? Because as we can see, we're now stuck with 4 demand zones. I like removing the demand zones until we can see that it aligns with an overall point of liquidity. Now, what do I mean by that? When we, for example, have an area of demand, you want there to be a liquidity low positioned right above it. For example, on this highest area of demand, there's no liquidity low in the overall impulse positioned right above it. Therefore, this demand zone is irrelevant for myself, and I will simply remove it and only focus on, for example, this demand zone over here. Now, for example, when the market retraced into this demand zone, we didn't see any bullish price action except for, let's say, 1 or 2 bullish candlesticks. Therefore, it was irrelevant at the time as well, but more on that later. Now, looking at the current overall area of demand that we have over here, we can clearly see that 1, we have a liquidity low positioned right above it. And this is actually part 1 of understanding why this is a very strong area of demand from where I'm looking to go long. Because part 2 is understanding that for an area of demand to be strong, it needs to sweep liquidity. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, if we go up a time frame and look at the daily, we can very clearly see here that we had a long period of consolidation. And if you've watched earlier videos of mine, to understand how liquidity forms, we, for example, look at an area of consolidation because we believe that above an area of consolidation, there is liquidity, and underneath an area of consolidation, there is liquidity as well. That's why, for example, over here, when we push towards the higher bound of the range, we reverse in towards the downside, and why now we've moved into the lower bound of the range, we've moved back in towards the upside. So when looking at why a supply or demand zone can be strong, it can always be stronger once it's swept liquidity. So now going back to our overall trading time frame, which is the 4-hour, we can then clearly indeed see, hey, if we draw an overall horizontal line here underneath all of these equal lows, this overall area of demand swept all of those lows and then saw a V-shaped reversal in towards the highs, showing me that there is buyer intent and that there are buyers coming into the market. So again, the two ways to identify a strong area of demand is by understanding understanding, is there a liquidity low positioned above the demand zone? And 2, has the demand zone swept the equal lows to, for example, its left? Now, with that understood, we so far have 3 confluences in alignment. We have market structure, supply and demand, and we have liquidity. Now, for the final piece of confluence, we want to look at the overall swing points. And what I mean by that is simply drawing in the Fibonacci tool. You can find the settings over here. I simply have the 1, the 0.5, and the 0 fib. And what I pretty much always want to see is the market retrace at least into the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement level, also known as discount pricing. And from discount pricing, I'm pretty much just happy to look for new potential buy positions. Now, with that fact that the market is now retraced into discount pricing, hit that demand zone, taken liquidity. Now, when the market has retraced into a final point of liquidity, meaning the lowest point of liquidity, and it has retraced into an area of demand, you can be very extremely aggressive with your overall entries, setting pretty much just a buy limit on the overall liquidity low, targeting a higher high. However, if you still want more confluence because you're a little bit more of a conservative trader, go down a time frame and look at the 1 hour. Now, this is where again we're going to be waiting for a new area of supply demand to be created in the form of a market structure shift by looking at so-called fractal structure. Now, fractal structure is nothing more than looking at the market structure of the individual candlestick, and that is shown, for example, here where we see a push down, pull back up, a push back down. And now what we're simply waiting for is, after taking liquidity and tapping into that demand zone, we're going to be looking for confirmation that there is actually liquidity and demand. And we do that by waiting for a so-called high break here and the so-called change of character to then confirm that a demand zone is then formed, from which we can then go long. So what we see happening here on the market is a overall slow consolidative price action, but then an overall high break here with the wick. And a wick break for myself personally is enough then to get involved with a potential long position. So what I then do is I go back up a time frame, and this is also the crucial difference why you are so often hitting your stop loss. Because if you enter now with your stop loss extremely tight, there is still potential for the market to manipulate a little further. So what do we do when we're this low in the overall leg? We place our stop loss underneath the overall swing low and we target the overall high for at least a 1 to 2 risk to reward. We wait then for the market to tap us in with that buy stop at the time. We get tagged in, and as we can see within a few days here, actually, because we had overall the news on our side, we can see that USDJPY hit RTP. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a beautiful trade breakdown there on USDJPY, understanding how to identify key points of supply and demand and what is the difference between a strong and a weak demand zone, but also how to combine this together with liquidity, the overall premium versus discount tool, and simple market structure. Now, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one.